No.
No, I'm not okay.
You just say you're fine, but you're not fine. But you have to say it because no one will understand. But you're not okay, and you probably will never be okay. And no one will ever.
But you're not okay, and you're not ever going to be okay. And no one's ever going to understand. If I'm being honest, I've never felt worse.
2021 was probably one of the worst years of my life.
So far, there's still more. Throughout my life, I've always suffered from depression, mania, suicidal ideations, anger, anxiety. As I've gotten older, my coping mechanisms have evolved, but it doesn't reduce the pain. If anything, the pain is worse. It just manages it. Yep. Last year was a special kind of mental clusterfuck. There were times I wouldn't even go driving for basic needs because the thought of, wrapping my car around a telephone pole was so intense. We can, of course, reduce our moods to chemical imbalances. For instance,
You quit smoking cigarettes, and now you're cutting yourself in the bathroom with the door locked just to get that fucking dopamine.
Use your big boy words, Zach!
and you're still miserable. Obviously, you need a dopamine boost that isn't self-destructive, like exercise or playing with your death ray. But that's not very philosophical, is it? So how does philosophy describe the phenomena of moods and emotions and whatnot?
These are all the brain meds I take every single day, just to take off the fucking edge. Psych meds, coping methods, meditation, drugs, alcohol, more drugs.
Are ultimately just tools for interpretation. They alter the way you interpret the world around you, in the same way you tune a guitar to alter the sound. They alter your disposition, and your disposition is how you are attuned to the world. Your disposition is literally your Befindlichkeit, or the state in which you are found.
When depressed, the world around you seems to lack meaning. The things around you withdraw from you. Even your own body withdraws from you. You feel weak, unable to do basic things. Every movement and reaction becomes an insufferable burden. What's the point? You aren't able to engage with your immediate world, but you're still falling, absorbed in something.
Maybe it's the fictional ideals of the former friends who betrayed you, i.e. a longing or a willing towards a memory of a person that no longer is what it once was, if it ever was. Maybe it's a new series of interpretations, or maybe it's the same old interpretation again and again and again, and so on and so forth and so on and so forth.
They were shunned because they were a voice of toxicity in this space, unfortunately. As currently, 2 members have filed official grievances alleging targeted harassment and blown BSA slang,
Over the course of months, Zach has maintained and promoted hostility towards me. He has promoted misinformation among members and the general public as a means of spreading distrust towards me as a member of the executive committee.
These facts have thrown you into this current state of existing. But these aren't just any old discrete facts that describe your existence, height, weight, etc. These facts are existential. They are the facts that are the driving force in your life, that propel or throws you into your current situation, determines your mood, or how you are attuned to the world. This is called facticity. The temporality of your facticity is always based on your past, what came before. Just like the impossibility of time travel to the past, you can never get behind your facticity. You can't go back and change this or that fact and its consequences. While the future is always open, once something has occurred, it is a necessary fact that it did, in fact, occur.
The best we can do is dwell on the facts as they are. Meanwhile, the world around us continues. Yet the world can only withdraw from us if we are always already belonging together with the world. And this just means, as humans, an inherent part of our existence is that we are fundamentally absorbed in a world which we care about, or at least have the possibility of caring about. You can never separate the human from the world in which it exists. Its very existence presupposes a world which discloses entities with such and such a sense.
Sometimes, when you feel like shit, you do things to yourself to change the way people look at you. At least, you do it for that goal.
And you still can't get it right, you stupid mother...
Another mood is fear.
Attention is still there. I will not consider some mental health bad fear, retaliation, life, or this is what you have attention to where they are. However, I feel like fucking everyone is going to stop about some sort of communication around the example people are not even and we think relationships fuck them. I'm satisfied with the mother chapter because I feel like when you're a go, your shit and enabling other people's shit through you has been so fucking detrimental to the entire leftist organizing community. You are enabling abusers and manipulative fucking monsters. People who have been gaslighting attacking us. You are working with them. Fuck you, man. Don't talk shit about my friend. Fuck you. You know what the fuck I'm at. I don't need your shit. Fuck off. Dude, what the fuck is this current moment? You're such a fucking moron. Don't fucking text me. Fuck you, gaslighter. Fuck you, gaslighter. Fuck you, gaslighter. Fuck you,
When one is fearful, objects which are normally innocuous appear threatening to us. Objects which we fear carry with them a detrimentality or threatening nature with them. Fear lets us know we are endangered, abandoned to this threatening object or place or person. Our very absorption in the world is threatened. We become bewildered in our interactions and engagements. When we are disposed to fearfulness, it closes off from us perhaps more rational, less passionate interpretation. Maybe we misinterpret it. It's not so threatening after all. What could it possibly hurt?
Things that are threatening can also make us angry.
So what's the difference between fear and anger? In being attuned angrily, entities within the world explicitly reveal themselves as antagonistic towards us. These entities put us in a bad position. We feel pain from their presence or actions, and that pain explicitly diminishes us.
Yet, this still seems a lot like fear. In fear, we wish to avoid that which we are fearful of, that which threatens us. In anger, we wish to harm or destroy that thing.
Annoyance can be a type of mild fear or mild anger. If you simply have a bad impression of someone, everything they do will seem especially egregious. Critiques are actually vicious attacks.
The mere fact that they're in the same room with you seems like an insult. God, they're fucking breathing! How dare they breathe in my fucking space?
The toxicity of your city! Of your city!
Oh, this is really bad. Everything supposedly happens for a reason.
And sometimes that reason is you're stupid and you make bad fucking decisions.
And the way I see it, folks are the least inclined to see something when it directly usurps a notion they previously conceived, especially when that notion validates something they are insecure about. I reckon it has to be hell to be accused of something you don't think you did, but get ready for some depressing alliteration. As a person who has a personal history with a person that belittles what was the worst thing I'd experienced in life this far, I reckon I see the other side. These two situations are different but comparable. Whenever they for something you just don't want to see yourself accused of. I hear people talking about lived experience, and I'm all too familiar with manipulative tactics used by people that I would never have guessed would use them. I give you trust. Doesn't mean I should silence folks who feel differently, especially when I have trust built with them, but that's mostly because I'm pretty self-centered. We're a lot alike. I call you a manipulator, but if you want to bring you exemplify why I'm not inclined to just believe whatever comes out of your mouth, dude. I've watched multiple other people cry in more pride than me because they feel like they were being gaslit.
We've come to an impasse, my friend.
I'm currently experiencing you contradicting yourself. We wanted you to suffer, you either don't get or you don't care. I'm gonna assume you're baiting and we'll make you no more room to manipulate. Godspeed, Zach. Now, I'm assuming worst intentions.
Y'all always have been.
People often confuse fear and anxiety, mainly because the symptoms are very similar. If we look at the World Wide Web, for the distinction between an anxiety attack and a panic attack being the most severe form of fear, where the flight or fight response kicks in. This is the difference between the two. I actually did get this off the internet. I just printed it out. Don't worry. It's Healthline.com says panic attacks come on suddenly and involve intense and often overwhelming fear. They are accompanied by very challenging physical symptoms such as racing heartbeat, shortness of breath, or nausea. During a panic attack, the body's autonomous fight or flight response takes over. On the other hand, anxiety is usually related to the anticipation of a stressful situation, experience, or event. It may come on
gradually.
Anxiety is typically related to something that's perceived as stressful or threatening. Anxiety can be mild, moderate, or severe.
So if you look at this list of side-by-side symptoms, they're basically the same thing. In fact, the two things this site claims aren't anxiety, fear of dying or losing control, and a sense of detachment from the world, derealization, and oneself, depersonalization, are just the exact opposite. Those are signs of anxiety. In reality, it seems panic attacks are just the most extreme forms of anxiety. And the site even says one can experience both panic attacks and anxiety attacks at the same time.
But this doesn't really answer the question of what's the difference between fear and anxiety.
It's really bad. Ugh. Ugh. This is awful. The difference is, I fear what's in the woods. I have anxiety over my decision to go in the woods.
Fear is based on external threats, while anxiety is based on internal threats, and the only thing that is internal is ourselves.
Anxiety is a type of disposition where we come face to face with ourselves. Entities within the world are meaningless to anxiety, but the fact that we have worldhood as such, that we are beings that are essentially absorbed in a world, is what we come face to face with. As German philosopher Martin Heidegger once said, quote, "Being anxious discloses, primordially and directly, the world as world. Worldhood means a space where we are always, and where entity as such can be disclosed to us based on this or that disposition, which gives entities in the world this or that meaning. If worldhood itself, not entities within the world, is that which we feel anxious about, then it is completely indefinite. Quote, "Anxiety can arise in the most innocuous situations, nor does it have any need for darkness, in which it is commonly easier for one to feel uncanny. In the dark there is emphatically nothing to see, though the very world itself is still there, and there more obtrusively."
Okay, that's still pretty fucking vague. What does it mean to come face to face with your worldhood but not entities in the world? There are times where we come face to face with the decisions that we make in life. In making these decisions, we are taking a hold of our worldhood, which is the way that we interpret entities within the world. We are taking hold and bearing the burden of whatever interpretation that we choose. It is not some other event within the world that shifts our attunement towards the world, though that is something that can happen. It is we ourselves. And it's indefinite because it's in anticipation of future events. Future possibilities which, unlike the past, remain open. Anxiety is where we are individualized from others, but it is also a reckoning with that individuation. We must reckon with ourselves. Heidegger says, quote, "Anxiety makes manifest in humans its being towards its own most potentiality for being. That is, its being free for, the freedom of choosing itself and taking a hold of itself. Anxiety brings humans face to face with its being free for, the authenticity of its being, and for this authenticity as a possibility which always is. We are anxious in anticipation for the consequences that we choose. Oftentimes I'll be performing some simple tasks like grocery shopping, and suddenly the memory of some stupid fucking decision I made in high school or in college or last week, which is completely inconsequential now, will flood my brain, causing me anxiety. It'll stop me in my tracks. It's not just future decisions which cause anxiety, past decisions too. And it's not just that specific decision that was made that is grounded in anxiety, but also all the alternative decisions that were available at the time but are now permanently closed off. We anticipate what could have been. Again, anxiety is indefinite. I can look back on a decision and project out all the possible what-if comic books I could write about what could have happened. Yet, I can only do this if I, at least theoretically, negate the choice that I did make. The choice that is my facticity. I have to literally negate a part of myself. This is derealization and depersonalization.
Anxiety is really a more primordial form of disposition, one which grounds all the others. We usually only talk about it in the negative, but anxiety can be a powerful disposition that inspires confidence, proficiency, joy, and so on and so forth.
However, this video isn't about that. It's not about how well I'm doing, after all. Anxiety is the root of suicidal ideation. Sometimes you don't want to come face to face with yourself. Sometimes you want to turn yourself off. Cancel yourself. The ultimate Control-Alt-Delete.
There's a point where facts and logic don't matter.
In case you weren't aware, all humans are mortal. The defining characteristic of mortality is that we will end. We will die. It's literally the only thing guaranteed to us upon being born. One day we will die. We are anxious in anticipation that we may no longer exist. That worldhood as such could be forever closed off from us.
That nothing can ever reveal itself to us ever again. We are anxious about what decisions and responsibility we must make. We must burden ourselves with to stave off death.
For a lot of us, fuck that burden. Perhaps better not to stave off the inevitable.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'll live longer.
Shut the f*** up!
Have you ever complained about how life is not only not killing you, but also not making you stronger? 'Cause I fucking have.
I have suicidal ideations basically every single day. There's this old episode of an Adult Swim show called Lucy, Daughter of the Devil. In this episode, Lucy is having a date with a guy that her father, Satan, doesn't like.
Ethan, how is your beer? Is it okay?
It's good.
I don't know what music you like. What's, oh, is he growling at you?
Yes, he is.
It's very hard to hear. It's so low. It's like a
not
low.
really hard to hear, actually.
Who is Mr. Scary Dog? You are a scary dog.
Hey, can he go? Does he want to check out another room maybe or something?
Oh, hold on one second, right? Ethan, I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Take him with you. Take him with you.
While Lucy is distracted talking to her father on the phone, Satan orders her pet demon dog to convince the guy to kill himself, which he eventually does.
You should kill yourself. Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself.
Dad, I gotta go. I'm going now.
Kill yourself, 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 kill yourself.
Look, this date will take you to the highest heights of political power.
I don't want to be on a high height of political power.
Well, you're just being
But it's a moot
contrary.
point anyway, because you know what? I've actually met a nice guy, and I'm with him right now, which is why I can't talk, so please let me go, okay? Goodbye.
Well, I'll tell you something, Lucy. I don't think this nice guy is going to be a part of your life for much longer.
I said, what does that mean? Mother. Dad! You're impossible!
Sorry.
It's all for you, Lucy.
Bad dog.
Rarely are ideations so blatant, at least in my experience. It's far more likely that, like, an image of a rope around your neck, or a fatal car crash, or gunshot to the head, or a hose from your car exhaust to your window will force its way into the fore of your mind. I'm in my 30s. I've been having these thoughts since I was in 4th grade. I've thought about this a lot. Trust me, there's a lot of ways to die. Typically, suicide comes from a hatred of oneself. It is we that are the cause for the pain from our diminished state. Maybe you do deserve to be in pain.
Be in pain.
Maybe you do deserve to be in pain.
There's something to be said about forgetting. Memories are often what lead us to depression. Anxiety can be caused by past decisions encroaching on our present. Nietzsche said, yes, I'm going to use Nietzsche again. Oftentimes memories are a sign of pain, a negative value that holds humanity back. Nietzsche defines memory as, quote, an active no longer wanting to get rid of. A villing on and on of something one has once willed. A true memory of the will. The memories of traditions, orthodoxy, of genealogy, of the many things from before that command us evermore. Memories which we refuse to forget. Friedrich says, quote, one burns something in so that it remains in one's memory. Only what does not cease to give pain remains in one's memory. That is the first principle from the most ancient psychology on Earth. One might even say that everywhere on Earth, where there is still solemnity, seriousness, secrecy, gloomy colors in the life of man and of a people, something of that terribleness continues to be felt, with which everywhere on earth one formally promised, pledged, vowed. The past, the longest, deepest, hardest past breathes on us and wells up in us when we become serious. Whenever man considered it necessary to make a memory for himself, it was never done without blood, torment, sacrifice. All of this has its origins in that instinct that intuited in pain the most powerful aid of mnemonics.
The memories that hold us back, where anxiety becomes depression, anger, suicide, are meant to be painful, and are only ever remembered because they are painful. How do you turn it off? Well, the answer seems obvious: to forget it. For Nietzsche, forgetting is, quote, an active and in the strictest sense positive faculty of suppression. And he describes it as a little stillness, a little tabula rasa, or blank slate, of consciousness, so that there is again space for new things. In order for us to be active, we must constantly become anew, be a creator, and forget that which no longer exists to make way for the new. The one who lives in the darkness of the abyss, the one who constantly forgets and affirms the will to power, is the one who shines. The pandemic has been rough for us all. Take care of yourself, strange thinkers.
Let me out! Let me out! This is not a dance! I'm begging for help! I'm screaming for help! Please come let me out! Let me out! Let me out! This is not a dance! I'm begging for help! I'm screaming for help! Please come let me out! I'm dying in a vat in the garage! Woo! Tiny Zach!
Special thanks to all my patrons. Support me on Patreon. Bye.